I'm beginning to understand that to desire is to not have. And when I say that, I don't mean in a sense that we as people should not desire anything and we should kind of just like go with the flow and live our lives without any goals or aspirations. But I mean it in the sense that I think that in wanting something, we're almost existing in the acknowledgement that we lack that something. Yesterday, I was watching a video from um, a therapist and psychologist, and they said something that was really interesting to me. They said that to want something is to not have that thing, and to not have that thing is to exist in that not having. Basically, to say that desire is the opposite of contentment. And I think that we as people, I think we should strive to be content in every moment that we have because, I've said this in past videos, but the past doesn't exist anymore and the future doesn't exist yet. All we have is the present, so we should try to be content in the present moment that we have. But then it's interesting. It's just the balance between not getting or desiring something, but also being content with everything that you have. Because in a lack of desire, you will be content in everything that you have. So it's really the balance of desiring while still acknowledging that you lack something that you desire. And I was thinking about this a lot, and I really think that it's important to almost posit the feeling of obtaining your desire in the present moment. That way you could almost naturally go towards that something while still being grateful for it despite you lacking it in the present moment. And yeah, that sounds a bit confusing. It's very hard to articulate, but something that I've been trying to do recently, that I've discovered recently, was visualization. In the sense that, I just sit down, I close my eyes, and then I really try to imagine having the things that I desire for myself. And more than just imagining it, and almost trying to imagine my five senses in the presence of said thing that I don't currently have yet. But then feeling the feeling that I would experience in that future moment, in the present, and really just, even outside of the visualization, just existing in that moment and existing in that feeling for my just regular day-to-day life. Because I think that doing so, it's really interesting. I think it bridges the gap between your desire and then what you currently have, while still also allowing you to naturally go towards that thing that you desire. So it's what I said earlier. It's basically being grateful for something that you don't have yet. And I think that's really, really important. In my church and just in Christianity as a whole, I think one of the really big stressors is to be thankful in every situation and to be grateful in every situation. I'm trying to remember exactly what my pastor said, but my pastor said once that it was something along the lines of complaining in God's eyes as being selfish, considering everything that you do have. And I definitely agree. And I don't mean that in the sense that, that we should deny ourselves the ability to feel bad at times and to not be like super happy and super joyous at times, because I think that's just like a natural part of human existence. But it's to say that I just think it's important to be grateful even in the lack of the thing that you desire. And I think being grateful for something that you don't have yet, it almost prepares yourself for when you have that said thing. So it kind of avoids the whole imposter syndrome where you finally obtain something and then you're saying, oh no, I don't deserve it. I'm not the kind of person that would deserve it. Because through positing those feelings and through positing that visualization into your mind, it really, I think, puts that into the present moment so that it becomes part of your identity. So then you just naturally avoid that imposter syndrome. But I also think it's really important that we just input a lot of our faith into this as well, and put a lot of our faith in God into this as well. Because like I said in the last video, you should attract and not chase. And I think that in obtaining anything, it's about having faith that God will do that for you, rather than having faith in yourself to obtain that thing on your own merits. Because I think that without us, nothing, or without God, nothing that we can do is even possible to begin with. And, I think that over the last month, I'd say, I think I've had like a really massive transformation in my own faith in God and in my own relationship with God. Because, throughout most of the month of January, I fasted, and then I was praying and fasting. But I noticed something really interesting. It's that when I was praying, it stopped being me asking for things, and it was started becoming me being grateful for things, even in not having those things that I desire yet. And I think that in being grateful for the things that I do not yet have, but I have faith that I will have in the future, I was able to posit that positivity into the present moment, and I was able to exist in that. And I think that really helps, or that really helped me on my journey to obtaining those things to begin with. And I think that a lot of this is about faith, but in a more practical sense and in a more worldly sense, I think it's also just really interesting in general. It's like how when you see, or when you pay attention to a number or a color or something like that, then you start seeing it all over the place. Or like you meet a certain person in an environment, and all of a sudden you start seeing them all over the place. I think it's a little bit like that, in the sense that when you exist in the presence of something, even if it's not something, or if you feel the presence of something, then you're more likely to find it everywhere around you. And I really just mean that in the sense that if you change the way that you think from that of a lacking mindset to that of an abundance mindset, in the sense that I'm grateful for everything that I have, even the things that I do not yet have, then you'll start to see so many things around you to be grateful for. And I just think that it's really important to be grateful for everything that we do have, because I mean, there's so many people in the world that lack what we have as people. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but we've all heard it before, that there's always someone that has less. And that's not to say that you can't, or to deny yourself the right to desire more, or to deny yourself the right to feel negative simply because someone else may feel more negative. But it's to say that I think we should, it's just so important that we be grateful for everything that we have and everything that we will have, because in being grateful, that's acknowledging that you already have that. And I think that in already acknowledging and feeling that abundance, that really helps us get there to begin with. And um in a biblical standpoint, something that I always do when I'm praying, at the very end of my prayer, I always say, thank you, Lord, for answered prayers, because that really just posits those things into my existence now and into the present moment now. And it's to say that I just think it's really important that we're grateful for everything. And that goes into a lot of faith as well, because in saying that you're grateful for something, it's saying that you have faith that God will provide that thing, so much so that you're already thanking Him for things that you have not done. And, like I said, I think my prayers have really been transformed over the last, like, about 20 days, from that of me asking for, all sorts of things, to me being grateful, even when I haven't asked God for those things yet. Like, there are some circumstances where I didn't even pray for a thing. I was just already thanking God for, I know that thing was already in my presence. And I think that really helped just posit a lot of gratitude and a lot of positivity into my daily life, while still helping me towards my goals of getting to where I wanted to go. So yeah, I just think it's really important that we just focus on, when it comes to desire, that we focus on the having rather than the not having, because desire is the opposite of contentment. So then if you look at what you desire, then you posit the feelings of you already having that thing into the present moment. Then you can be grateful for something that you do not yet have, but you have faith in God that you will have in the future. And that, I think, not only do you feel a lot better, not only do you then start becoming someone that would have said thing, but then I think it's just a lot of positivity in our day-to-day lives, because I think that, and always focusing on what we lack, we'll never have. It's almost like the glass half empty or half full. If you constantly focus on the half empty, then you can never focus on the half full. But I'm kind of saying in what I'm describing that if you are a glass that's half full, if you have gratitude for the other half being full eventually, then I think that allows for the other half to start being filled. And I think that's why there's so many people around the world. It's really surprising, but I just see it so often on different social medias and things like that, of people, or not even just social media, people in my day-to-day life, people that have more than I do, but they feel worse than I feel. And I think that a lot of that is because they're focusing on the things that they do not have rather than things that they do have. And even in focusing on things that they do not yet have, they're focusing on that lack, and they're focusing on the desire for it rather than the acceptance of that thing already in the present moment, which will then allow them to obtain that thing. I just think, I don't think everything that I'm describing can really be explained in words. I think a lot of it is about a feeling. It's about recognizing it in your own day-to-day life, because it's just such like an interesting feeling or an interesting experience where, like, even me just today, I was just lying down and I was really just thinking about, and I was imagining myself where I want to be in, let's say, a year, or let's say 2 years. And I carried that feeling, that positive feeling, I carried it into my day, and I just felt so much more positive. I felt so much more present. And I think there were aspects of that person that I want to be in, let's say, not even a year, let's say 6 months, that I was able to better understand because I was able to feel that feeling, which really I just think helps in that journey of obtaining that thing. All that to say, thank you for watching. This video is a bit more, I think it's a bit more practical than the other videos that I've made in the past. It's a bit more analytical, but I also think it's a bit more abstract at the same time, because I think a lot of this, it's something that you kind of just need to try for yourself and experience for yourself to really understand what I'm saying to an extent. Not to say that, well, no, not even to say that, but to say that I think, a lot of what I'm saying, it's things that people have told me in the past, but I didn't really understand it until I was able to experience it for myself. I have a Bible verse that goes with the topic of this video. It's taken from Galatians 5 verse 16, which says, "So I say, walk by the Spirit, you will not gratify the desires of the flesh." So, yeah, and even in everything that you have and in everything that you don't yet have, I just think it's important that we focus on the feeling of having rather than the feeling of not having. And that just posits a lot of gratitude, a lot of positivity, and a lot of contentment in our lives, even as we're on the journey to, our goals and to our ambitions as a whole. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day.